Hello, everybody. This is Magnetic Leadership Mentor Jeeva Sam, and I want to share with you something that makes you magnetic that Jesus actually taught about in an encounter he had with the Pharisees, the hoity toity, the people at the high end of the spectrum, the so called righteous religious people. They complained when they saw that Jesus was actually hanging around the tax collectors and the other so called sinners of his day. And Jesus responded to their concern by saying these words. He said, "You know what? It is only those who are sick that need a doctor. I have come to seek the sinners and bring them to repentance." In other words, Jesus was saying, I can only help people who will first admit that they have a need. A doctor can only help you if you're willing to go and say, "Hey, doc, this is what I'm dealing with. This is the problem that I'm having right now." And now the doctor can examine you, get to the root cause, and then prescribe something for you that will take care of the problem. And so Jesus says the same thing, that his mission is only relevant and meaningful and really life changing to those who would first of all come to him admitting that they have a problem. Of course, he's talking about the most fundamental problem of them all, sin. But when I read those words, I realized that this is actually a trait that sets magnetic leaders apart from everybody else. There's something about a leader who admits his or her vulnerability that actually makes them magnetic. If you come across as being totally perfect, you don't need no help in no area, that kind of an attitude, you'll do fine. Don't worry about it. Like a lot of people do great with that kind of attitude, but you will not become a magnetic leader because people who follow you, people who hang their hat on your tree, people who are looking up to you, need to know that yes, you are very good, you are competent, but they also need to know that you're not perfect, that you still have some weak spots, that you still have some vulnerabilities that you're addressing, that you're working towards, getting fixed and overcoming and so on. And when you admit that in an odd way, rather than being seen as a sign of weakness, people see that as a sign of strength. Now, you may not want to, like get onto a TV show and blab about it or put it up on YouTube like this for everyone to see. Like that's not the idea. But in those small circles, when you're dealing with people that are closest to you, the more vulnerable that you are with them, the more magnetic you will be. Now, this applies both ways, by the way, not just with people that you are mentoring, that you're raising up, but I would actually suggest to you that if you need mentorship, if you really value mentorship, then you need to come completely clean with the person that you're mentoring. Otherwise, they cannot lead you in the right way for what you need. I remember many years ago, one of my mentors, told me when I sat down with him to talk about a situation, he says, "Jeeva, if you tell me a lie, I'm going to counsel you a lie." And that shocked me because he was saying, because I'm going to give you the best counsel I know based on what you tell me. And if you're not totally honest and open with me about it, then the counsel that I give you may actually end up hurting you rather than helping you, because I'm giving you counsel based on what I hear you say and what you're willing to admit in my presence. And so, friends, this is something that all of us need to be very aware of, and that's one of the reasons, even today, after like 35 years of ordained ministry, and years and years of mentoring people and so on our own, Slojan and I, we still seek out mentors. We still know that we have blind spots, and some of the spots, of course, are not blind. We can see them openly, but we always submit ourselves to the scrutiny of others, and we are totally 100% honest, with them about what we are going through, where we need help. And it's funny when we make ourselves vulnerable to them, and some of them, of course, the ones that we go to are tremendous leaders, people who know us as leaders. And I've noticed that when we become vulnerable with them, then rather than somehow look down upon us, as people with the problem, their estimate of us, their respect for us actually goes up. And friends, same thing happens to us because we have leaders coming to us all the time Most of the people that we mentor are actually leaders in their fields, and even in our marriage mentorship, we have a number of leaders that come to us, and when they come and say, you know what, this is an area, where we need help. Would you help us? Here are some of the areas, and they make themselves so vulnerable and open to us. Yeah, you know what? Our respect for them actually goes up tremendously. We honor them, for their honesty. We respect them, and so keep this in mind. To be a magnetic leader doesn't mean that you always have to simply, be a person who has no faults, people who does everything perfectly the first time. No, you need to be vulnerable. And that's not just about sharing your failures in the past. It is really about being vulnerable about who you are right now and what you're going through. And so, yeah, be wise about what you share, about who you make yourself vulnerable to. To me, the rule of thumb is I always make myself totally vulnerable to anyone that is mentoring me, anyone that I turn to for counsel. But I also let the people that I'm mentoring, and some of you who are watching this video, you're part of our mentorship processes, and that Sloja and I don't hold back from sharing some of the struggles that we are still going through, some of the arguments we have, and so on and so forth, because that is part of what I believe all magnetic leaders ought to do. And Jesus, by the way, also modeled this later on, especially when he was, in the Garden of Gethsemane, as he was, facing his imminent death. He told his disciples, he says, my soul is troubled. I am in agony, and they got to see that, and that actually, made Jesus even more attractive, more magnetic to them. All right, so I trust that this is something that you will take to heart. And your vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. As a matter of fact, it is a sure sign that you are a magnetic leader. God bless. Bye-bye.